What? You're gonna look at what you're wearing.
We also go around.
Really?
And just introduce ourselves too.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That is gorgeous.
I love it. I would get,
Yay.
how much, I want one of those. Okay, can you
Here,
see
we'll
on
do
the
that.
tiny phone? Jody, can you just spot check?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. You can see me?
Yeah, but I do feel like maybe we should.
What if you put it up on the fireplace?
It has to be, it's plugged in.
No, her phone.
No, my phone's fully charged.
What about the window
What?
sill?
Yeah. What if we move this over here? Okay.
Perfect.
Right, you got it. It'll be across you though. If you want to put it behind you, you can. Ingrid. Yeah,
I'm good.
I like that a lot. Ah, mother trucker.
Sorry. That's okay.
No swear, don't no
Do you
swear.
want to lift it up? Do you want it up a little, or are you good?
This is
Not
what
sure.
the holidays are all about.
As long as you can see me. If you can see me, they'll make too. Right?
That will go on automatically. How does that look? It was kind of bright.
Higher or
Oh,
there?
I can't really see it from here.
Oh, should I take a peek? So it's on like right next to it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a team event.
It feels okay.
It feels
really
good.
does. Yeah,
I can see you there.
Okay. Am I in the center of the tiny phone?
Yes, you are.
Perfect. All right. Excellent.
Brilliant.
Yay!
And Melissa was saying something about.
It's so funny how you're talking about home because when I was getting my information together for the science of sound, something inside me was saying do the chakra chants, like, you know, om, lam, dam, and so I put that into my workshop, whatever you want to call it. So it's funny that you brought that up.
Should she come up here and lead us on that, or?
Well, I don't have them memorized, they're on my.
Okay. There's a song that everybody knows that actually opens up all the chakras, and it goes like this. E-I-E-I-O. And then we start with the om. So, okay, I think I clicked the live button. So
Okay.
I'm pretty sure we are live.
All right.
Okay,
Brilliant.
excellent. So we're just going to start off. Welcome to another episode of Starseed Activations.
Recording in progress.
Fantastic. Start again. Thank you to another episode. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Starseed Activations. We are coming to you live from Massachusetts today, and we just want to say many love and blessings, and thanks for coming. The entire group here, we are going to start off with an om. This om is going to open and expand your heart chakra systems. You guys can do it at home. And so this is going to allow the star people to fine tune the energetic systems and allow us to become in alignment with any messages that they wish to send for us. Now, we wish for everyone to take a nice deep breath in and release with the and just another one, dear ones. And we wish to just say thank you, dear star people, for this channeling. Thank you for assisting and healing each individual here live as well as watching on the live stream. Thank you so incredibly much for bringing us the highest frequency knowledge that is in alignment to assist in the evolution of all of humanity. And they are saying many, many love and blessings, dear ones. Thank you for joining us tonight. Excellent. Do you guys have any questions for them?
We would love to know a little bit more about why certain instruments, crystals, healing tools that are, especially healing tools. It can be anything, but specifically things that we talked about earlier that break.
Thank you for your
I think
patience,
we makes
everyone.
the video. It's okay. So yes, certain crystals, well, it's any crystal actually. Whenever an individual starts holding on to a crystal, that crystal starts a process of energetic bonding with the field of the primary individual. Now, if that individual is holding any density or darkness in their field, it is going to allow the crystal to experience a type of shattering or breakage, depending on the type of crystal held. Some crystals are also dark ones. Those crystals are not in alignment, and when they come into contact with a higher frequential individual, the crystal may naturally start a breaking process. However, the darker crystals are not usually found on your planet, but it is something to be aware of. Sometimes any human incarnate on your planetary system may program a crystal with a darker or lower vibratory frequency. When we come into contact with a new crystal, it is very important to allow a process of telecommunication to occur, allowing you to feel any emotions from that crystal and allowing those emotions to be cleared and allowing your consciousness to reprogram them. Each crystal also has a gender identity. So if the primary individual has an imbalance in the chi energetic systems, that is on the right-hand side. It is directly connected to your voltage. Then we want to start looking or interacting with a masculine energetic crystal. That is going to allow for your chi energetic systems to become back in alignment with your binary codex frequencies. If the individual is displaying emotional turbulences, then we want to have a look at crystals that hold a magnetic property. That magnetization is going to assist in rebalancing as well as releasing any trapped emotions in their field. Different crystals shall provide emotion codes that each individual may use to fine-tune your energetic grids and allow you to manifest according to that emotion code. Each emotion code grants each of you access to manifestation capabilities beyond your wildest dreams. When you start to utilize crystals, you may use 3, 4, or 5 crystals in order to reprogram the entire complex of your field. This has such a potential to change every physical thing that you see, including all people, places, things, experiences, health issues, turbulences, may all be revolutionarily shifted instantaneously with the use of crystals. Whether you are accessing the crystal's programming system or emotion code, or whether you are casting an emotion code into a crystal, allowing that crystal to hold the new frequency program, and allowing that crystal to radiate into your field, it shall allow you a higher frequency of manifestation. Some crystals have an impact on your heart chakra. Some may raise your biological frequency, which shall start the process of time moving very rapidly for you. Now, once again, this is simply your perspective of your individual reality. Fine-tuning of any of your energetic systems may also take place with just your consciousness, not even summoning up a crystal. Any item in your reality may also be encoded with an emotional frequency. Humanity is aware of this, for you may hold emotional responses to having an item of, say, a lost loved one. That emotion becomes encoded in the physical item, which then every time you engage in that item, it allows that emotional frequency to completely radiate into your biological systems. Each emotion should be felt, allowed to be expressed, no matter how dark, dear ones, and then neutral. It is okay to have the experience of this emotion. When you start to neutralize all of your emotions, it shall allow you to cast more love and light into your biological systems. When an individual holds love and light, a process of energetic bonding between your higher self into your heart chakra shall occur. The higher self feels like it flowers open like this. When the higher self fully engages in your biological form, it shall allow you to access your highest potential timeline. For the higher self is only going to become physically present when you are vibrationally in alignment with your highest soul form. That higher self is going to put you in such a reality in which all of your wildest dreams become true. Does anyone have any questions? Yes. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you everyone for being here. I put on the healers thread, but for people that are not on that particular thread, this feels like Christmas to me. This feels more like Christmas than a Christmas that I've had in years. So it's beautiful. So thank you so much, Danielle.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I wouldn't have a Christmas tree this year if it wasn't for you.
Really?
No one has a Christmas tree. It's nice. I get to spend 2 days looking at one. It's beautiful.
So there are lots of people, I mean, this is the healers group,
Yes.
and there are lots of people coming with grief, and we all have certain modalities that will help people with grief, but there is no easy way around grief, period. But I would love to hear what the star people and you have to say about what would be most helpful for releasing that.
Tears. And the star people tell us all the time, every tear is worth $10,000 for us as an individual. Because every single tear that we release is an emotion code. Think of your water and how water inside of the body gets programmed with your emotions. So every time we are taking this emotion of pain, because we are feeling that pain, we are releasing that pain in our tears, we are actually taking all of the pain inside of your body, encoding it in each tear and releasing it. When we release it, it's the same. They're showing me it's very similar to bloodletting. And so bloodletting is a process in which you have to give back to the hologram. Now, many times we talk about blood, sweat, and tears, and you are giving a piece of yourself to whatever it is that you're putting your conscious focus and attention on. When individuals get sick, we go to the hospital, they take blood because they run tests. But that is a process of bloodletting because you are technically removing a piece of yourself from your biological form. Removing the tears allows that emotion code to be released, but also removing the blood allows that darkness, that density to be released, even though we see it as it's only a tube of blood. That's a very physical perspective. The truth of the matter is that your body, it's engineered to do amazing things. And so if all your emotions is held inside of the water, your body knows, oh, they're going to get rid of water right now because blood is liquid. It's going to cast all of that emotion out the blood to release as much of that toxicity from your emotion grid. That's how that works. So when someone is feeling grief, the best thing that they can do is cry. Many times, if they can't cry, because sometimes a heart chakra shade will come forward and it will shut off the emotion grid. This is when people become numb to the situation that they're going through. However, there's many individuals on this planet who have some type of heart chakra shade. That shade is not going to allow for your highest self to fully blossom through. When we start to talk about heart chakra shades, it is a process of acceptance. We must neutralize the emotions that each experience has given you. For each experience is simply an emotion code for you to overcome. But you are the one who manifested that emotion. And they're showing me, this is how two people can experience the same exact thing. And some people don't get traumatized by it, and other people completely break down. And so everybody handles their emotions totally different. That's okay too. When we start to see serious grief weighing us down, the first thing each and every one of us must do is clear the attachments off the field. You have to start asking yourself, is this grief? Is this emotion code mine? I know I triggered it because I walked through the grief. I felt it. It's mine. The experience is mine. But now this grief is coming over and over and over again. Is it still mine? And so when we say things like grief, get off and go home, if there is any attachments on your field, it's going to release and leave. When that happens, now you may start to sit with that emotion code, feel the grief, and see how it resonates inside of your body. Is it still yours? Is there anything that we can do to neutral out that emotion code? Sometimes grief can put such a weight on our shoulders, and that will be the attachment's name, weight on our shoulders, get off and go home. And so when we start to really allow and to neutralize these emotions, it's okay that I had this experience. It's okay for me to release this experience. Then we have to always go in and light encode the body, which looks like I love and bless my body. This is what Reiki energetic healing is. Now, once again, we can even dive into how does grief make your body feel? So knowing your biological responses looks like taking a deep breath. Imagine and summon up the emotion code of grief. How does your body respond? Do you do this? Do you do this? How does your body go into a movement when you summon up an emotion code? It is not only the physical body that makes an emotion code, it is also your face. Any wrinkles or lines on the face are always going to be an indication of an emotion code that is expressed over a very long period of time. And so we may start to notice very young people developing wrinkles all over their face. And we may stop and think they're too young for that. What that is it's an indication of holding these emotion codes and not allowing them to be released. When we start the releasing process, there are many, many different modalities, which is what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
They're like, you guys are doing like 10 of them tomorrow. Yeah. And so crystal bowl healings, sound healings, breath work. We can use plant or oil-based. Oil-based is wonderful too, because when we start to utilize essential oils that don't have alcohol in it, each essential oil taps into the energetic grid in such a way where we can identify the location on the body according to the emotion code that you are holding, and then that essential oil will start the process of releasing that emotion code. What that looks like is like this. If you felt despair and you took one drop of an essential oil that releases the emotion code of despair, now all of a sudden it feels like it gets washed off of you. That's how it feels. Many times we won't feel that way until we start to release the bulkness of our identity. But the second that you do an extensive shadow work and you really start to focus on love and lighting your body and making positive changes in your reality, which is known to raise your biological frequency, when you start to utilize plant-based medicines to release, you start to feel them right away. And I'm not talking about mushrooms, I'm talking about essential oils in specific, the star people are saying. They want to make that very clear, because one drop of that essential oil has the potential to change the emotions that you see. Each attachment that we have running, we have experiential attachments. An experience can be anything from tying your shoe to having a car accident. Each attachment physically changes your reality. And what that looks like is if someone casts an attachment onto you, which can be very easily done by generating an emotion code and then sending that attachment at a person. That attachment name is always going to be a curse word. When we start to do this, the person on the receiving end of that energetic transfer is going to start to notice signs and synchronicities of that attachment being present in their field. What you are actually doing is casting an energetic at the other individual, allowing the star field to open one particular plasma circle, which is what the star field is. They're saying that this is important for you. This is also how the device works. We pull the plasma through the star field, and then it comes into a form of ether energetics, and then we are able to instantaneously manifest items, which is why that device heals, because it is working with the star field. Each attachment latches on to a certain meridian and ley line vortex, which is why it looks like stars to us. Each one of these stars, we can open the doors or we can close. These doors allow the attachments to latch on, but also allows a form of plasma energetic to come through, embodied into the physical material as well as the field outside of your body, and allows you to cast your manifestation abilities. In time, when your energy fields are at a very high vibratory frequency, your manifestations shall be coming instantaneously. Which is why each and every one of you are currently in training, especially you, they're saying. That training is going to allow you to access your lower frequency emotion codes, transmutate them, because when we start the process of instant manifestation, any lower emotions are going to manifest first. Any fears you have will manifest first in 5D. Each and every one of you is also being assigned a rep. That star person rep is going to assist you in clearing your field as well as cutting any energetic cords for the next 3 days. If any people contact you and you haven't spoken to them in like 6 months, don't pick up the phone because they're trying to put a cord back on you. And they're saying that this even goes for the people online. Yes. As that was one question. So funny.
Does anyone else have a question?
Can you say more about the heart chakra shades?
Yes. So heart chakra shades, there's a lot of feelings. There's a whole range of emotions that go into that. And so some of those emotions make us feel numb. There's an experience called inward shelling, in which we're taking our energy field and we are pulling ourselves inside of our body. Many times people hunch like this when they have a significant shade in the heart chakra. This closes you down from feeling the emotion code of love. Some individuals may also feel disconnected from the source frequency, which is technically impossible, for the entire physical reality that we experience is or consists of the source frequency. When you see a heart chakra shade, you may feel like nothing sparkles, he's saying. And when we feel that, that means that we have to go inside and we have to release whatever trauma generated that heart chakra shade. Releasing that heart chakra shade can be done through a multitude of ways, but they're actually saying that it's really good, and they would like to do a heart cleansing on all of us after we end the live, not before. Because he's saying it's like a crystal grid of the heart chakras that they want to do, so that anyone in the room who does have a blockage in the heart is going to be opened and expanded. You may feel heat or tingles or warm, fuzzy feeling. That's how you know that they are helping. Yes.
You were saying before about if you get a communication from somebody you haven't heard from for a long time, don't open it.
No. Give
So
yourself at least a week.
after we do tuning.
After today.
After today.
Yeah, they've already cut your cord before you even stepped in the door. You know, they clean you off to prepare you, and they help to raise your frequency a tiny bit so that it affects the channeling. Now think about it this way: if we had an individual in the room and that individual was low or toxic, we would all feel that toxicity. And so what they do is they raise everyone up to allow the channeling to be what you guys need and what's in alignment for you. Which is beautiful. Yeah. See, some people they can't make it, right? And that's because star people like not in alignment.
Yeah.
I've seen it before too, though.
Everyone who is
Yeah.
here is here for a reason.
Yes.
You know, and that's generally, we all know that everything's for a reason, everyone's here for a reason. I would like to ask, why are we all here? And answer from the circle tonight.
He's saying because you're here to assist my training. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes.
How did we do it?
That's
Happy to
fantastic.
do it.
Thank you guys. Didn't expect that one, right?
Right. No.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Well, because as a channeler, I normally do this behind computers. I don't look at people. I don't see you guys. And so it's
and I see
totally
you using your arms and you know things that we don't see online.
because it kind of what it feels like to me is like I could feel them casting in and then them taking over. And then sometimes I get nervous. And I'm like, oh God, you know? And then it's like, oh, okay, I calm down. Sometimes I have side conversations with my starman. And so there is a female Arcturian who comes through and so I don't know if you guys can feel it. She's a very feminine, energetic when she talks. It's very like loving, caring, kind. And then there's my starman. So it's like it's two different Arcturians who are channeling.
I definitely recognize the feminine, I think.
Yeah.
Does your starman sound more like you?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's funny. That's hilarious. So.
Okay. Because even some people in this room, I think, are new to this whole channeling thing.
Yes.
But when you're in your frequency and when you see it, like no one is making it up. The information is.
It's extensive.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm grateful to record.
Wonderful.
So that, anybody here, you guys can go right online and you can pull up the video and see it over and over. Save it, share it with everyone you want. It's yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't gatekeep. Any information star people give me, I give to everyone. Because this is all part of our ascension and the people need the knowledge. And so that's the most important thing, right? We're not here to make a buck. We're here to actually help raise the frequency of the planet and assist humanity in their ascension. Otherwise, the human consciousness grid, Mother Earth, it didn't look too good for some time. But they flooded the entire planet with starseeds. They activated different channelers. We have different people who are doing vortexes inside of the pyramids, which are activating the human consciousness grids to allow us to raise our frequency. We have different people who are summoning the sun. And so Samsava, that means solar flash. I personally have been guided to do different meditations where I sat and I said, Samsava, Samsava. And what that does is then you can start to see the next day, all the solar energies are higher. And then all of the people are having different experiences. And they're like, wow, everything is like, it's going really rapid.
Yeah.
Now, we can see different experiences when we start to see things like a war on the planet. Now, nobody likes a war, right? But how you respond to things that you don't like in the reality is key. Because when we start to respond with love to all of that darkness, and love doesn't mean having to go and apologize to someone. Love means self-love. I love myself enough to not get triggered by you. I love myself enough to see the news on the TV, to shut it off, and to go send Mother Earth love. The more and more we start to do that, we're not little me. One person can access their slipstream, put themselves into divine alignment, and then we can reflect outwards, and one person can have an impact on 20,000 hearts. This works because there's a form of rhythm or synchronization between the heart rates. And so we know that one person in meditation, it has an effect on the field outside of you. Now, what I'm telling you is each and every one of us can sit here and we can go into a walking meditation. And that walking meditation allows us access into the slipstream, the 0 point. We allow the higher self to fully radiate out. And then all of a sudden we start to have this impact just by being here without having to sit down and meditate. That is what I do. It's beautiful. And that's what each and every one of us are shooting to do. Even if we don't realize that that's what we're doing, that's what we want to do. Think about how the world would look if every single person responded with love. So when you see something dark, when someone curses you out, and you're like, it's okay, I understand, and I love you. When each and every one of us can do that, we win. Because what that is that's a frequency that we radiate out, and sometimes that person that's cursing at you, sometimes they're the ones with the heart chakra shade. And when you cast back love and blessings, that heart chakra shade, it starts to get a little smaller and smaller, allowing that person to go through a healing journey themselves. It's beautiful. That's how you change the world. It doesn't start with government. It starts with one person at a time. Changing their frequency, change your life, heal yourself. Bring love to all the people around you, which is what Jody's doing too, even by allowing us to be here. It's a blessing. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you, Jody. Thank you. Thank you for cleaning. That Starman is like, thank you for we've seen everything she's done. Oh yeah. He is funny.
He is funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for the Christmas trees and the beautiful decor. Right? And thank you for being you and doing the live streams.
Thank you. Yeah,
It's
that's
blessing.
tough
Yeah.
for me. So they've really pushed me, and I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, to all be pushed. So that's a perfect segue to the next question is, you know, a lot of times we'll say, well, it's an opportunity. These are opportunities when we're pushed. But, you know, there are some days when one thing goes wrong, another thing goes wrong, another thing goes wrong, another thing goes wrong. And yes, we need to feel our emotions, we need to whatever, but is there a bigger purpose to that? Somehow us being really triggered on a day that's really important, and it's just like cascading rotten news.
So, and that's where I was in 2019. And so my body was broken, and the people around me were like, go walk down a block. I could barely make it 2 houses. I was like limping, right? And a part of me was like everything was going wrong because everything in my life was shifting and changing, and everything was falling apart. And I was like, I'm not going to make it. Who can live like this? This is too painful. So all that negativity, it had to fall out of my life. That's a painful process. So when we see things, we're trying to do something, and that something is not in alignment, and we start to notice this type of chaos that it's removing everything or breaking everything, or it's not working, or the crystals are falling and breaking, that's a sign that, okay, I need to come back to neutrality and talk to the higher self. Thank you, higher self, for removing all of this darkness out of my life. I'm at peace with it. If the darkness wants to be here, I will sit and I will hold space for that darkness. I will not judge it. I will not say it's good or bad, even though it's dark and even though light is light. I still will not say either one of those are good or bad. Sometimes we use darkness, and darkness brings about light. All life is birthed in darkness. Your brain is electrical in its nature, which is encased in darkness. The darkness and the light must work hand in hand. This is your toroidal fields. It flows from the center of your heart up and around. It flows to light. Then as it gets over here, it gets darker and darker, grayscale, and then darkness. And so this is the way the system works, because we know we have a star field above the head, which we can access 5D frequencies. That's more light. But there are also different chakras, which we will not name, underneath the feet, which grant access into the void. The void is pure darkness.
Sorry.
You see, we're talking about the void, and they're like, yeah. Then I want, and look, there's an ambulance. That's my sign. Don't talk about the darkness. Some darkness is okay, but when we start touching different aspects of the energy field, some can really cause chaos. And we can hurt ourselves by doing the energy field the wrong way. So it's important to, you know, it's okay.
Does anyone have a question before I ask another one?
I was going to say, how our animals and our interaction with animals help us
elevate.
So the cats are more emotional in their nature. You have to gain the cat's love. A dog is more unconditional love. So that's allowing you, the primary individual, access to see what love is from a different consciousness that's of a lower level. Now, the animal will start the process of energetically bonding with the owner to such a degree in which you may start to reflect, or the animal may start to look or be perceived like they are very similar to the owner. Any diseases or distortions that reflect into the animal, we always want to have a look at the owner. Send them to the doctor right away. If your animal has cancer, go to the doctor right away and just see. Even if you're testing the genetic codes, there's probably a marker that you trigger, and maybe it hasn't resonated into like a tumor or cancer or something yet, but that animal is indicating an imbalance in the owner. And so, but the funny thing about animals is sometimes it'll be the child's animal, and the child will reflect, and then when the child grows up, leaves the house, the animal goes through a brand new process of energetically bonding with usually the parent, and it's like, oh, it's your cat now. And then all of a sudden, it takes about a year for that energetic bonding process to fully come into place, but then you'll start to notice the reflections and the animal will change. This is how animals work. Think about it this way. Your energy field is very big and bright, and so in animals is a lot smaller. So our energy field is going to blanket them, and then they're going to pick up to whatever frequency. Similar to that of a frequency generator, right? Heals the body. Your frequency is either going to heal the animal or cause distortions. Yeah. It's beautiful. Dogs are wonderful for emotional support because of that unconditional love. So that's why many times as well, if someone is going through a very traumatic healing, it's good to have an animal with you. Specifically a dog, they're saying, even if it's a rental. Yeah. You take it back.
Yeah, the dogs are so nice and calm.
That happens. The
Yeah.
star people like.
Yeah.
I had a fear of dogs. I was attacked by a pit bull when I was a kid, and so my anxiety used to be, oh, the dogs. And then I started noticing when I would go into people's houses who had dogs, they were very calm, and the owner would be like, "This is impossible. They don't normally do this," and I'm like, "It's because the frequencies." So yeah. Plus, they're even saying when you start to hold unconditional love inside of your body, the animals can feel safe because that frequency radiates out and it's very, very wide, they're saying. So just by being in that frequency, the animals know, and it's like, shh, it calms them. So that's how the star people do it. They broadcast us with unconditional love, and it makes us feel calm, at peace. And we can even access the quantum realms. And so the quantum realms is when you are following your highest passion and potential, you start to feel like you are slightly above time and space. And so sometimes we can see the auras around people's bodies, the light shifts. And then not only that, but I personally have had experiences where people's names change when I'm channeling. And it's like, that wasn't your name. It was, and it was slightly off. But what that is it's accessing the all time, all space of quantum realm. And then now we're able to make changes and modifications to each and every one of your slipstreams, which is that soul form. And there are always changes done in your highest and best. The star people guide the entire process. So it's kind of like having a channeling and saying, many love and blessings, dear one. Many love and blessings. You go around the room, we do it, and the star people do it with me as we're doing the channeling. It's beautiful. Amazing.
Can they talk a little bit more about how they prepared us to be here for this weekend, even this session? I know that I felt a lot, even cleaning, like time went by so fast, and not because I was in a panic mode, although that did happen. But just, doing what I love to do, getting my house ready for people to come in.
So we start to see, people got triggered. And so the triggers is a part of the process. Because when we see a trigger, we can release a trigger. Even if we don't think we're releasing the entire trigger, it's like, oh, it happened again. And what happens, you're like, and then some of that trigger is gone because you've experienced it. So we have a look at any person who's ever gone through like the darker frequencies and the same experience happens over and over and over again to them. Every single time they go through it, they're given an opportunity to release a little more density to that experience. And so you have to hold more love and light to each experience that you're having. So every time they go through it, it gets a little less painful. Now, when they start to hold, it's okay if it happens all the time, that's releasing resistance. That's holding neutrality. The second you hold neutrality, I love and bless myself. It's okay that this trauma has happened to me because I'm going to heal myself. And even if they don't do it that way, it's like, I'm better than this. That is still casting love into your body. It all depends on the frequency that the person is holding. Is going to depend on the words that they use. When we neutral out those emotions, it allows us to raise our frequency ever so slightly, but it releases a lot of density. And so many of you guys, some of you got triggered. Some of
How many
you
got triggered this week?
It was
Yeah.
healing, apparently.
Yeah, it's healing. And
go back 3 months.
It's okay. You get there. I think everybody got triggered this past month because what was it, a full moon, retrograde shift, like all of these things are real. And for a long time, I stopped watching them because a part of me was like, we're blaming everything on the solar energetic shifts. And I was like, I don't want to know. But then I would go through these things and I'm like, oh God, what's happening, right? And then people are like, oh, it's a full moon. I'm like, that makes sense. So now I want to know, because now when the big things come, there's always, and the Gemini full moon, our polarities got reversed. And
When was
so
that? Anyone know when?
it was recently, it was like a couple weeks
The
ago.
most recent
Yeah,
one.
the most recent one. And so if you were flying high, happy, it was like, wham, you crashed. And if you were really crummy and low, you were like, oh, things look so good. And that's because our polarities got reversed. It took me 3 days to balance from that. That's how I know. I felt it, and then all my online people started reporting, and I was like, that's what's happening. Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, I woke up and I was like, oh, I'm back in the third dimension.
Yeah. So much fun.
Here we go. Integrate.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? It's a blessing to have all the solar shifts, because think about how stagnant we would be if we didn't go through the process of, oh, I got triggered. Okay, that means there's something for me to focus on because I experienced a trigger. And so every trigger and every breakage. I was telling you guys this about the musical instruments. It's okay to have a breakage, because that means, okay, there's something inside of me that is manifesting this to be broken in my life. Many times people manifest broken people or broken experiences, broken physical items. I manifested a broken body. So every solar shift I went through way back when, something else would hurt. It was either an arm or a leg, right? My wrist went numb at one point. And so, but it was going through all of this different cycles and releasing the density. You had to come to peace with it. And then you had to start the healing journey in the process. So many times when we speak about emotions, we wish for you to experience or imagine every distortion or disease has a range of emotions for that distortion. So, for example, let's say the common cold. And so you may feel as if you are getting sick a few days before. Those are all emotions because it's something that you are feeling. Then it may get worse and worse and worse until finally you are feeling as if you cannot move or function correctly. And then you start to feel a little lighter as the days go on. Every single day is giving you an opportunity to experience and express all of these different emotions. The second that human beings as individuals become consciously aware that they are co-creating their experience, it allows them the potential to go inside and change the emotions that they are holding. When they change the emotions they are holding, it allows them to transmutate that darkness at a very rapid rate, which may even include instantaneous manifestations for some. These emotion codes may also generate, or you may have the perception of spontaneously healing. And that is because more unconditional love is held. Did you hear that?
I did.
Okay.
I don't know.
There's always things like this happen. Yeah, it has. Have you seen the lights flicker?
Yeah, I
It
did.
does. It did twice a day.
In that room too.
Yeah.
That you're gonna be in tomorrow.
That's what I heard. It sounded like ting 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 on like a metal chair. I'm like, like I told you, he's very humorous, right? He's
Yes.
very funny.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of them are humorous though.
They
Aren't
are.
they?
They are.
All of them
They
are
are.
humorous because they're just happy.
Well,
And
he's like, well, it's like people. Everyone has their own personality, but they're all linked together in one consciousness field.
Yeah.
So different people will have different aspects of them as an individual, even though they are one. So 5D is very similar to that because it still allows for perception depending on the species and depending on if they activate the 5D with technological means or spiritual means. With spiritual means, 5D means that we activated the rainbow body of light and we activate extra senses like the Christ consciousness grids. So telekinesis, teleportation, instantaneous healing. All these things are very real. Each and every one of us can do them right now. We do not have to wait for a solar flash. We just have to go inside of ourselves. And we have to fine tune our energetic field to allow for more love to shine through. The more love and light that you can shine through your biological form, it is going to remove any density, which allows you access into the plasma systems of instantaneous manifestations. Yes. Each chakra subsystem or each primary chakra system is also going to change or modify the way that you see your current reality. So if an individual is primarily focused in blue, it shall allow for a perception of communication distortions or manifestations to be in your current reality system. Distortions will always be noticed first. For if light is trying to shine through, you are always going to see the blockages in your reality. A blockage in the throat chakra system is going to look like having an argument with another individual. Or it may even be the perception of trying to communicate with someone and they don't hear a word you are saying. That is always a blockage in your communication or the throat chakra systems. Yes.
Could it be that maybe it's a blockage in their system that you're noticing?
What about them?
Yeah, I was like, I literally can't say this any other way that will penetrate, you know.
So in that case, because I've been there too, I'm like,
Most loving way. But I've been like, I don't know, we're just gonna have to agree to disagree and walk away because this is just not happening.
but you still manifested the experience.
Oh.
And so because you manifested the experience, there was a piece of your light that triggered that density in your field to allow that experience to be reflected back to you. Everything that you see on the outside, whether it be people, places, things, it is all a reflection of the frequency that you are holding inside. So every experience you are manifesting, no matter how big, no matter how small. Even if it's an argument, even if it's a homeless man on the street, it doesn't matter what it is. It is all in alignment with your frequency. So that's a hard one to grasp for a lot of us because we're like, how did I manifest this? So I got this here. And then you dive into the shadow work and the inner child healings. Sometimes you have this trauma from childhood. Sometimes it's from a past life. Sometimes it's actually encoded through the ancestral karma. And it was your mother's or your grandmother's trauma. And you're like, this isn't even mine. So we just have to change the emotion codes that we have running. If you looked at your whole body and your entire life, like it was a fractal of light radiating out and then reflecting back in, this is how the system works. You can make fine-tune adjustments to the entire chakra system, which changes the flow of that light. And then that light comes out and it reflects back to us. And when it reflects back to us, it's giving us a perception of the physical reality. Time, space is an illusion because the light that's over there, so I have to see that candlelight is in the past. because it took that candlelight time to get into my eyes to be transmutated or to be digested by my systems to command into the brainwaves. So that candle flickering is in the past. It's not real. And then the eyesight itself sees everything in reverse. So that's how your 0 point works. It's a checkerboard. The white and the black, it's your toroidal field. We see things and then we go through time and space. Now, when you start to make adjustments into your heart chakra, this is how we can slow time and space, or we can speed it up. There's different breath works that we can do to do this as well. So if we can slow time and space, what does that honestly look like? If we're standing in a room full of people and we can just take a deep breath and like stop time, what does that look like? We can do these things. There's certain martial artists on the planet who are doing this right now. They do it, and we've seen this in the movies as well. The martial artist Jackie Chan he'll get in the zone, and then all of a sudden time goes really slow, allowing him to perform the move and get out of the bad situation. He didn't change time and space for the other person. He changed the way he saw time and space, which reflected into his current reality, and it gave him the perception so that he was able to transmutate that energy. That's how this works. I know that's like,
I was like, why wouldn't we all want to slow it down? I'm like, oh, okay.
there's
Right.
there's reasons. Yeah.
Do it the right way.
Yeah. Well, we've seen different magic stories about how they pause time. Why would you want to pause time? If you're able to pause time, you're able to go walk over there and look like you just disappeared. It doesn't take you an hour to get home. Now it just took you 5 minutes. You still have sunshine to go spend time with your dog, right? So but then that's only the beginning of the time-space abilities, because you can start to see the quantum realm. You can see all potentials. Not only all potentials, but you can see where you have to make the changes and modifications to your frequency to change the timeline that you're on. So and this is how the star people tell us, if you want to follow your highest passion, that's going to put you on a high frequency timeline. But the truth is that our consciousness is so much more powerful than that. We're able to dive into a meditation, see the timeline of the highest passion and potential, and then see if there's any moves I can make in the timeline frequency that then shifts me to an even higher frequency, or even the next octave above. The next octave above is 5D, but that's only one octave. There's 12, and then you start the game all over, and there's a totally different physics, different, reality as a whole. You had a question?
I did. I was wondering if you could speak to the idea that so frequently there is this theory among people who are resisting being in a place of love, or being in a place of joy, or choosing love, or choosing joy, making a conscious choice to transmute the way that they're about to experience the third dimension. And the reaction that that presents itself is basically like, well, I'm not into magical thinking, or I can't white light myself out of this one, or it is reflected back as if there is a request to deny the challenge, or deny what's hard, or deny the darkness, or that it's perceived as a denial rather than a conscious choice. Can you speak to that at all?
Sure. So once again, the individuals that each person is having an interaction with is a manifestation coming from inside of them. When an individual is reluctant to make the shift into a higher frequency, many times we see this on this planet when someone, maybe say one of our children, are going through an experience with alcohol. And so they don't want to shift out of it. And so what's the first thing that we must do? We must come to neutral. There's nothing else I can do. If they're going to have this experience, you have to take a step back, because all the energy that you're focusing, trying to raise their frequency, it burns you out a lot of the times, because you're not meant to do that. They're divine creators. They're meant to have their own experience, no matter how dark, which is hard for us to hear. But this is just the way that system works. So when we're talking about ascension and people don't want to hold more love and light, that's a very similar thing. When you start to, it's okay for them to have this experience and just send them love and light. I love and bless you. It's actually going to release resistance, which allows them to start their ascension process if their higher self deems it's time for them. Once again, the frequency inside of you changes to play your characters. And so you can do fine-tune adjustments on the sacral chakra, which is orange in its coloring. It's located this much below the belly button. When you do energy clearings in there, the people change. And so I personally have had experiences where star people sent me love and light into that chakra. And then the next day, I had some family members call me up and say, I miss you, you're amazing. And I was like, what? Right? So by just fine tuning our systems, it allows the reflections to change. And I'm talking completely. Because the second that we, as divine creators, become aware of this, now all of a sudden, if you see someone and you don't like the car they're driving, let's say, but you're neutral to it, you can actually go inside of your field and you can fine tune the frequency to your friend and what car that they drive. And then all of a sudden, their car is going to shift. But the way it's going to shift like this. In this moment, they were in car A. I did the meditation. I changed the frequency. When I opened my eyes, they were always in car B. That's how we access above time and space. That's instantaneous manifestation. We don't have to only manifest for us. We can manifest for the world. We can manifest for our friends. We can manifest for the animals. What is it?
My daughter, she wanted to move off base, and they told her she couldn't move off base, and she had to see this apartment. She's like, Mom, I'm not gonna see the apartment. I'm not like, yes, you are. You're gonna go in there, and you're going to look at the apartment. You're gonna visualize yourself in there. That your apartment is yours. And she's like, Mom, but they said I can't move out. I'm like, that's your apartment.
Yeah.
And the whole time I was like, this is my big good apartment. 2 days ago. A couple of days ago, she called and said, Mom, I'm moving off the base, the airport base, and I'm moving into the apartment.
Yes.
After they told her no.
Yes. That's 1,000% correct. So what are we doing when we are visualizing? We are casting an emotion code because visualization is an experiential. Your experientials is how does it look? How does the frequency of the apartment? How does it feel?
Yeah.
What is the lighting like? When does the sun come through the windows? These are all experiences. These are all emotion codes. You could be sitting in this room in the dark and have a completely different vibe than being here during the day. And so they're all emotion codes. So through the process of visualization, as well as doing things like manifestation boards, it actually allows you to fine tune or reprogram your field, allowing you the experience of my daughter changed and now she manifested this. But the truth is, in your reality, you were the one who changed your frequency because you believed and you knew. That's what it is.
So how is your daughter now? Does she believe now, or is that like a coincidence?
I think I don't know. I think she believes. I mean, she's the one who got me more to. One day she talked to me about shipping dimensions and. I was telling her the story when she was doing my camp. She was talking about dimension, and I'm just like, my child is crazy. And
they said that about me too. We'll see who timeline hops, right?
And now I talked to her about it. I was like, remember when you used to tell me this? She's like, yeah, Mom, but I forgot about that. I was like, but no. Now it's my turn. Now I'm the crazy one because I'm like, I'm more into it. I'm like, remember, you're the one who put me onto this. And you have to have more faith. You have to believe. And
yes.
I mean, I think she is. Let's see what
well,
I see her.
A lot of times people are going to see things and they're not going to be able to explain them. And that's going to start because the second you see something, and it's just like if you saw the lights flicker, we have no reason for the light to flicker. If it's just one light, they're all tied together on the same energetic circuit, right? One light flickers, it's like we've all seen it. And so at that point, you can't discount what you saw. So seeing technically changes your belief systems. Even if the person's belief systems are locked, oh no, that didn't happen, I didn't see the UFO, right? There's a part of their psyche that's like, oh, I saw something I couldn't explain and I'm just going to shut it down. And so now, when the time is right and more knowledge where their consciousness raises in frequency, a part of them is going to be like, I knew all along, right? Because it was in alignment for them. So whatever is in alignment for them is going to manifest for them. It's our job to hold space. And when we hold space, we come to neutrality. It's okay for each of us as divine creators to manifest anything that we choose to manifest, even if it's light, even if it's dark. We have to be okay with this. The fact that the collective consciousness as a whole is manifesting so much dark on the planet is actually a blessing. That darkness that we see in the civilization ring is going to lead for all of humanity to evolve at a very rapid rate, which is going to look like extrasensory abilities being activated in all of humanity, which is a blessing. That process starts with tiny solar flares, triggering the people who are in alignment first. Those people then activate different extrasensory abilities, and then they go and they teach other people how to clean their field and how to come into unconditional love and how to access the source frequency and allow it to radiate out. And then we may potentially see a very large solar flare. The largest solar flare is going to then activate the rest of the human consciousness grids, which allows for the entire unity consciousness to become activated. No one has to die. That's it. Not during the solar flare. No one has to die. Right?
And that is what they said would happen in our lifetime.
Yes. Oh, yes. Look at the sun. It's white. Yeah. When we were children, it was yellow. Right? We drew with a yellow crayon. Now it's white. And
We're
we can
just
see the
taking
solar.
We're taking it piece by piece because of the flares that are coming up. It's going higher and higher and higher, and each one helps us ride that wave a little bit higher and a little bit higher.
The sun changes the consciousness. It's the way we think. And so it makes us see more spiritually or more 5D. We'll start to see time and space speed up. The moon releases our densities. So it's working in combination. That's why we have the moon. Because the moon is here to trigger our emotions, get us to release things, which then the sun always comes in after the moon. And then it's like, that's how it's working. And not only that, but that whole process is divinely guided. You're beautiful.
He's so cute.
So Garfield walked by. You can see my shoes on there, so you should see the cat. It's amazing.
Are we all healers in this room?
Everyone's a healer? Well, yes, because my Starman's like every human is a healer.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
did you have a question?
Nope, I'm not a healer.
She's like, I'm not a healer.
Yeah.
Who
No, I don't.
said?
Who's no, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. I want to learn.
About to say, aren't we healing the healers? That's the whole premise.
No, healing the healers, everyone is a healer. I guess I wanted to expand on that. That everyone is a healer just by being themselves, not, technically writing down, this is my job to be a healer. We're all healing, and by us healing, we heal out.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
But some of us are being trained.
Yes. So I'm in that program.
After this.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. We are being trained and guided because, and like they said earlier, when one person activates a higher frequency, it radiates out. And so just being in the room with someone who's a higher frequency, it starts to change everything in your life. So you guys, even though all of the words they've given us tonight, we may not absorb 99% of it. You may get 5 to 10% of it. Your subconscious mind got the whole thing. And they're activating you in the channeling with different frequencies. So the same thing happens when you're around any higher frequential being. So the higher frequency being, just by standing in the same room as them, they are radiating a type of energy field that starts to change you. This is how many of us have started the ascension process to begin with. We may have been walking the market or walking the mall, and then all of a sudden a higher frequency being walked past us, and then We went through triggers, we went through chaos, and we released all of that stuff. And now all of a sudden it's allowing us to raise our consciousness. So people like that, we also have chaos encoded individuals. And so a chaos encoded individual is someone who constantly has chaos surrounding them, even though they're very peaceful and they don't understand why all the people get triggered around them. Those people are actually a blessing. They are encoded with the same frequencies as the moon, and they are meant to pulse the energetic grids of your emotions, which then in turn allows you to release your density and elevate your consciousness.
Would this be narcissists or
No.
lots of other people?
No. This is
Chaos
like
encoded individuals.
this is like a loving person or a regular person who's not like evil. Yeah, a regular person who they just always have chaos around them. And they can't explain why. They're like, I don't know why this always happens around me. That is
true.
yeah.
It's a real thing.
That's a real thing. We've met someone like that, but they're a blessing. You hang out with them enough, and then all of a sudden you're transmutating all the darkness that they manifest. And then what happens to you? When you master all of the dark emotion codes, it allows you to hold the opposite polarity emotion codes. We must hold 3 polarities for each emotion code. So if you feel sad, you have to neutral it, you have to feel happy. When we complete that circuit, it looks like a pyramidal shape. That unlocks an aspect of the energetic grids, which then in turn allows you to absorb or hold more light from the source frequency. That more light that you are holding then gives you an opportunity to slingshot into the crystalline realms, activating extrasensory abilities, because your extrasensory abilities are encoded in the genome of your expression, and it is directly controlled by not only your emotions, but it is controlled by your thought patternings. So when you think about your genomes, you may cast a type of voltage or manifestation into it and turn on different circuits, which then look as though you have accessed extrasensory abilities. Yeah.
Very cool.
Anyone who wants to learn like air bending or busting up a cloud, we were talking about this earlier. We can make the clouds disappear. You have to put your conscious focus and attention on the cloud, and you have to cast your energy. I love and bless you, cloud. Thank you, cloud, for dissipating. And then imagine sending a white light energy at the cloud. The cloud will start to disappear because the cloud is just a mere reflection of the frequency holding inside of yourself. And the star people are saying, we wish for everyone to take a deep breath in. And on the release with a oh. We are recalibrating everyone's energetic grid structures. And we wish to thank you for tonight's channeling and for giving us the opportunity to be here with each of you. And so we are sending each of you many, many love and blessings, and have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was amazing.
Yeah, that really was amazing.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. You guys have a great night. Thanks for tuning in.